Okay, today we're going to be thinking about right angles. Now, angles are where you've got the corners within shapes. So if, for example, we've got shapes like a triangle, okay, you've got angles around the corner. So that angle there between those two sides is an angle, okay? Now we have angles inside and we have angles outside, okay? So the distance that it would take to travel around that corner. Here with the square, okay, we've got angles here inside the square and we've got angles outside of the square. Now we're going to be looking at a particular type of angle, and an angle is thinking about how far around the circle it goes. Okay, how far around the circle it goes. So if we were to draw a circle, okay, circle, a little bit of it in there, an angle, okay, it's thinking how far around our circle does it go. Okay, now a right angle looks like this. If we were to draw our circle, okay, a right angle looks like that. Now how far have we gone around our circle? Have a think. Okay, is it half, is it quarter, is it part way round? Okay, if you look, we've gone a quarter of the way round our circle, and we call that 90 degrees, okay, because this angle here is 90 degrees around our circle. Our whole circle is 360, but a quarter is 90 degrees, and this 90 degrees is what we call a right angle, and it looks like that corner. So exactly, one coming down and one coming out of it. Okay, now it might not always look like that. Okay, it might look like, let's see if I can do it as accurately as I can. It might look like that, or it might look like that. So there's lots of ways that they might throw us with these right angles, but a right angle always looks like a corner. Okay, one side coming in, one side coming out. A corner like that maybe, a corner like that maybe. Okay, that's what a right angle is, an angle that always comes down like the corner of a square. Now that's why we've got, and I've designed my own angle finder for our being detectives and thinking about our angles, because here you can see in our circle we've got a quarter of our circle cut away. Now if you're designing your own, you've got to make sure that's really accurate. I drew around something that I knew was a right angle anyway. Okay, so you need your right angle really accurate. Okay, so if we're thinking about that, we can use this to test different items. Now, so for example, I've got just a cork from a bottle. Okay, so if I were to put that cork in here, it's very close, but it's slightly curving back. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. See if I can get that. There's a slight gap between that straight one, okay, and the edge of my line there, so it's not quite, it's curving away from that right angle. And if we looked at it that way, we can be pretty certain it's not going to be a right angle, because it's not fitting equally. There's a gap in the middle here, and there's a gap either side, so our cork isn't easily a right angle. I've got a box. Okay, what do we think about these corners? Are they right angles or are they not right angles? Okay, let's have a look. I'm going to put my right angle magnifying glass into here, and we can see that it fits pretty much, a slight gap, but pretty much directly into that gap there. And if I turn it around, test this corner, same thing, pretty much directly in there. Okay, so again, this corner here, because the sides go at exact different angles, okay, is what we call a right angle. Okay, I've got a soup pot. Ooh, I've got a soup pot. Okay, again, think about what we know about our cork. Do we think it's going to be a right angle? Okay, if we do it that way, we can quite clearly see the gap between our two sides there. So it's not fitting nicely like our box did into our gap there. Okay, because it's a curve. Curves won't easily be right angles. Okay, and then there. Okay, now let's see if we can do it this way. It's got a slightly getting thicker at the top. So if got to be gentle and you're not trying to force it in. Okay, it's touching the top of my magnifying glass and going along the bottom, and there is a slight gap between my side there and the bottom of the pot. It's getting thicker as it goes down the bottom of the pot. So again, it's not a right angle because it doesn't fit in with no gaps. And finally, I've got a notebook. Okay, so if we test our corner here, look at that, it fits in perfectly. Come on. Okay, with our right angle magnifying glass. Okay, I can check this one as well. It's not as easy with the ones with the rings because the rings will get in the way. But I'll check this one here. Okay. That's more my cutting than anything else, but it's pretty much, again, a slight gap, but that might just be because of my cutting. Okay. And the way I'm holding it. But it basically fits into that corner there. So you're using these today to find different things which fit into that corner, and you might separate them into things that have a right angle and things that don't have a right angle. Okay, so you've got them there. Okay, so use that carefully. But a right angle is anything where those two sides are other ways. So it might be there, it might be, whoops, like that. Okay, might be like that, might be like that, might be like that. But anywhere where it's like a quarter turn, like quarter of a circle, if you imagine there's our circle, okay, a quarter of that, that angle will be a right angle. Okay, so we've got that there.